You pay the man whatever it takes. What's going on, everybody? So the Yankees are off today. They did win the series against the Chicago White Sox. Thankfully, they beat them 2 games out of 3. And after an embarrassing first game loss. So that's good. They're off today. Then they go to Detroit to face the Tigers for a series. So it's an opportunity right now for the Yankees to continue piling up some wins here. They're 72 and 50 right now, I think it is. They have 40 games left. 40. So they have an opportunity to still win 90-plus games, just like everybody else at the top does. So with that said, I wanted to talk about one guy, right? You know who this guy is. It's Juan Soto. Yeah, Juan Soto. The man who's, since he's come here, has injected life into this Yankee lineup and roster and fan base. And that's notwithstanding his stats, which are batting .307 right now, 34 homers, 87 ribbies with 5 steals, and OPS of 1.053. Okay? He's well on his way to 40 home runs, 100-plus RBIs. Judge is probably going to be, Judge is definitely on his way. Aaron Judge is on the way to 50 home runs and 100-plus RBIs. So, and Stanton might even hit 30. So between 3 guys, you could have 120 home runs. That's pretty darn good. And the Yankees have not had a generational player like this in a long time. Okay? So this is why I say, please, whatever you do, whatever you need to do to keep this man here, you pay him what he's worth. And I'm going to stick to my projection, where I said once Shohei Ohtani got $700 million, it gave Scott Boras, his agent, the argument to ask for it himself from Juan Soto, which I think he will. I'm not saying that I know he's going to get it or not, but he has the argument to ask for it now. Yeah, he might not be a two-way player, Ohtani, but Ohtani's not going to be a two-way player that entire 10 years. Everybody knows that. Ohtani's also 5 years older than Juan Soto. 5. So Juan Soto's 25 now. He doesn't turn 26 until October. So he has a whole entire season here at 25. And please, and I'll never forget this. George Steinbrenner, the late owner of the New York Yankees, he said owning the Yankees is like owning the Mona Lisa, right? It is. It is. Well, guess what? You have 2 Mona Lisas here right now. You have Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. Maybe even a third once Garrett Cole becomes Garrett Cole again. So, but the fact is, you got at least 2 here, and you got to pay whatever it takes to keep these 2 Mona Lisas here together. Yeah, I think the Mets will make some noise. Yeah, I think the Dodgers will make some noise. But I'm not listening to the talking heads over at WFAN and blah, 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 or the Dodgers trolls. Okay? Juan Soto looks like he's meant to be here. He's happy here. He's comfortable. He's developed a rapport with Aaron Judge and the rest of his teammates here. He's got a large Dominican community here in New York. He's got family in New York. He's happy here. He enjoys playing here. So, and the Yankees love having him here. The fans love having him here. So please, whatever you do, and I think they will, and they know it's going to cost a lot of money, okay, to keep him. But you have to keep him here. He's going to get paid from somebody, okay, by somebody. This is the opportunity for the Yankees to put on the big boy pants and really just execute this and say, he's not going anywhere. He's staying with us in the Bronx for life here, for the rest of his career. And the fact of the matter is the Yankees need him here, right? They really need him here. So, and again, there's some other news, right? There's some roster call-ups. Roster expands September 1st. And I think John Birdie's going to be one of them. Maybe they're going to wait until September to bring him up. I heard some reports saying they're probably doing that so that when the roster expands, they can just add him to it. They don't have to make a corresponding move beforehand, because if they do that before September 1st, they've got to ship somebody out to get him on the 26th, right? It gets automatically expanded to 28. There's no need for a corresponding move. That makes sense too. And it gives them a little bit more time to heal and get better. In the meantime, we need some pitchers to come back. Clark Schmidt and Cody Poteet and Lou Trevino and maybe Ian Hamilton and so on. Maybe Ron Marinaccio will be back up here and so on. And maybe we'll see Jason Dominguez in September too. Maybe even Cam Eaton and who knows, whoever else, right? And we don't know if Jazz Chisholm will be back. We just don't know yet. That's why he's on a 10-day IL, not the 60. Because they said it yesterday too that they're hoping 3 or 4 weeks it'll be resolved and he won't need surgery. Which okay, and at the end of the day is like if he's going to be whether he has surgery now or later, he's going to miss these 3 to 4 weeks regardless. And whether he has surgery 3 to 4 weeks from now, if they decide to do that, he's not going to be back to spring training anyway. So they're covering their bases, hoping to avoid surgery. I get that as well. But if surgery happens, it happens. It's on a non-throwing arm, okay, and he's a lefty batter. So keep in mind when he's swinging the bat, he's extending his right arm. That's his throwing arm. His left arm is his non-throwing arm. That's not the arm he's extending when he's swinging. So it's a different application, but it's still going to be a 4 to 6 month recovery period for a non-throwing arm for time if it becomes a Tommy John situation. So, but back to the topic in hand here. Juan Soto looks like an absolute perfect fit here. Perfect fit, right? Everything he does has made the team better. And that lefty bat to complement, and I'm sticking by this too. When I said 2 and 3, I'm comfortable. Soto, Judge. Okay, I'm more interested in what happens at 1, 4, and 5. Who's going to set up these two guys and who's going to back them up on the back end? I've said that all year too. Okay, and it looks like Austin Wells is really establishing himself as a good cleanup hitter option here, and then Stanton at the 5 spot. You got your lefty sandwiched in between your righties, and that's something I've said too. You got a lefty sandwiched in between righty Judge and righty Stanton. Okay, and even though Elias Diaz, catcher from the Rockies, was placed on the waivers last night, Yankees don't need him now. I know there was talk about him maybe being a trade deadline target, but look at Austin Wells. I do not want to interrupt what Austin Wells is doing here by bringing in somebody like Elias Diaz, who's going to need to play on a regular basis. I don't want to interrupt that. I'd rather have whether Trevino comes back and is the backup or whether they keep Narvaez here. Doesn't matter. I just want them to keep Austin Wells. He's proving to be a good player when he's playing full time and a good hitter, a good lefty bat, and he can hit the ball everywhere with power, with contact. It's exactly what the Yankees need right now. The 4 spot. Hopefully Stanton picks it up. Hopefully Alex Verdugo and Anthony Volpe pick it up, and then all of a sudden you have a 7-headed monster instead of a 5. We need that length, and then whatever else we can get from the other 2 spots, we need too. But Juan Soto, his impact has been felt at a ripple effect everywhere on this team, in the locker room, in the dugout, on the field, right, through the fans, through everybody. So please, whatever you need to do, please, whatever you need to do, sign this man. Okay, extend this man. Okay, the revenues that you're going to bring with him alone is going to be more than enough to justify signing his contract and investing what you would need to invest in him. Yes, we know Scott Boras is his agent. We get it. Scott Boras is notorious for doing this type of stuff. Okay, we get that, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, if Happy Gilmore could be his agent, it doesn't really matter, right? He's going to get paid regardless. He's one of the best hitters in all of baseball, best players in all of baseball. Okay, so please, whatever you do, sign him. And anything else that comes on in Yankee land, I think there's going to be a lot of news that happen in the next couple of weeks, particularly as it pertains to the 26-man roster and 28-man roster. And if you haven't heard, I'm going to be talking about football now too. Jets, Giants, and Bills. We're going to add that to the channel. So if you're a Jets fan, Bills fan, Giants fan, and you haven't subscribed to this channel, please hit that button. We're going to talk about baseball and football. Now that the football season's slowly taking effect, okay, once the baseball season winds down, there will be no down period here. There's usually like a dead period. I still put out content anyway, but there usually is a dead period of news. There won't be now because we'll have football to talk about and enjoy as well. And speaking of news, I mean, I have a couple things here. Let's go through the teams here while we're at it. Okay, the Giants are trading veteran. They have traded veteran Jordan Phillips, his defensive tackle, to the Cowboys. They made a rare trade with the division rival Cowboys, right? Who everybody loves to hate. They send him and a 7th round pick to the Cowboys in exchange for a 6th round pick on the way back. Okay. The Bills are loading up on wide receivers, which they need more weapons for Josh Allen. They keep getting projected at the bottom of the AFC East, but I can't see that happening. Josh Allen's way too good a quarterback. And they just brought in Deion Kane, as a former Clemson wide receiver. And I know they're looking to sign Corey Davis, former Jets wide receiver. Add some more weaponry there too. So it's like the Bills are loading up on wide receivers. The Giants trade a defensive tackle to the Cowboys, who need. It's going to be really fun if the Cowboys think. And speaking of the Jets, we know the Hassan Reddick drama. And if you haven't heard, Hassan Reddick was traded from the Eagles here a couple months ago, and there's been a contract dispute since then. He initially said he would play on his $14 million salary without an extension being agreed to, but he hasn't done that. He's been holding out since then, and it's been basically a contract dispute. The Jets have seemed willing to give him a small extension right now, but he wants to be paid like one of the highest pass rushers in the game. He's good, but this is one of the problems that that we have in football. Darrelle Revis did the same thing with the Jets. He had 4 years left on his deal, and he held out of training camp for a new contract. Hassan Reddick's doing the same thing. He's already accumulated $2 million in fines, okay, which is crazy, but he has. So hopefully they'll come to resolution at some point. But Joe Douglas, the GM of the Jets, said he's going to keep accumulating fines. It's going to keep adding up and adding up and adding up, according to the football CBA, until he comes and plays and honors the contract that he signed. So I get both sides. I mean, it's crazy. The shelf life for football players is not as long as it is for baseball players, and not all the money's guaranteed. So I understand this back and forth. I don't always agree with it, but I understand. It's not like baseball. Every dime is guaranteed in baseball. Okay, there's no amnesty clause. There's no, you sign $80 million deal, only half it's guaranteed, like football and so on and so forth. So not like that in baseball. Every dime is guaranteed. They have one of the strongest unions in the world, MLB Players Association, protecting players. So, but going back to the subject, that's the football news. I wanted to trickle in there a little bit for you today. But the subject of the day today is Juan Soto. How much would you give him? How many years? We need him to keep with the Yankees. Let's go.